Welcome to the Choice Skills Show. I'm your host, George Rogers, and today we're going to be talking about the nature of harmful substances. In our past presentations, we mentioned that apparently there are upwards of 41% of Americans believe that there's nothing wrong with using recreational drugs, using drugs for recreational purposes. But the message of today's video is our opinions don't count. Our opinions don't matter. What matters is the nature of what we're doing. And it all boils down to chemistry and physiology and neurology, a lot of things taking place within the body that we have no control over once we take these substances into our bodies. Now, these are the things we want our children to understand, because it's so easy to get caught up in the mentality of the world around us, saying, "Oh, this is okay. There's nothing harmful doing this once." Well, once can kill a person in many cases. So, what we want to do today is introduce you to some of these natural effects, the nature of harmful drugs.
I think it's worth repeating this quote from the Scientific American article published in 2002, February. Reads, "Perhaps the most ironic aspect of the struggle for survival is how easily organisms can be harmed by that which they desire. The trout is caught by the fisherman's lure, the mouse by cheese. But at least these creatures have the excuse that bait and cheese look like sustenance. Humans seldom have that consolation. The temptations that can disrupt their lives are pure indulgences. No one has to drink alcohol, for example. Realizing when a diversion has got out of control is one of the great challenges in life. There's a wide range of substances that people take into their body that are harmful, and there's many ways in which they bring them into the body. Some are in the form of smoke. Others are injections that they put into the bloodstream. Some are liquids that they drink and pills that they take. So it's a wide range of things that people do to partake of these substances. But in whatever form, they all carry with them both psychological effects and physiological effects that can be both pleasing and harmful at the same time. Alcohol, for example, decreases inhibitions, which many people find liberating, and it can create conditions similar to euphoria. But it can also, those feelings can change on a person and deteriorate into rage, which can be very harmful to themselves and others. And there's a distortion in perception, which at times may be pleasing, but also greatly impair a person's judgment. Obviously, there are physiological factors taking place when a person's inhibitions are decreased. For example, a blunting of senses, which increases their pain threshold and makes them to feel like they're kind of invincible. And they'll jump off of buildings and do all kinds of crazy things that they wouldn't do otherwise and are harmful to them. There's loss of body control, loss of memory, blurred vision, all of which are physiological effects of the drugs. Apart from immediate injuries that might take place, there are longer-term issues that people experience: brain damage, heart disease, kidney disease, and liver disease from consumptive uses of alcohol. The numbers are staggering. Almost 17 million people are heavy users, that's in America, and 10,000 people die per year from drunk driving accidents. And the people who die in these accidents typically aren't those who are drunk. Tobacco is another substance which makes people miserable if it's not available. They call it a nicotine fit. And often they're miserable even if it is available. Things like coughing fits and shortness of breath, just to name a couple. Psychologically, tobacco is addictive. It can be compulsive, and many people have a great deal of difficulty quitting it. Mark Twain once quipped, "Quitting smoking is easy. He'd done it 100 times. Physiologically, tobacco, the nicotine in tobacco, stimulates adrenaline glands, creating an adrenaline rush, which is sort of the high that comes from smoking. It also increases blood pressure, respiration, and heart rates, which leads to heart disease, lung disease, and a number of other ailments. Although the notion of inhaling smoke intentionally into one's lungs almost defies all common sense, there are close to 70 million people who choose to do that. And 1 out of every 5 deaths in the U.S., that includes both smokers and non-smokers, is considered due to tobacco. The more hard drugs, ranging from everything from marijuana to heroin and opium and whatever. These drugs also have with them psychological effects, including the euphoria, which is one of the reasons that most people do these things. And they also find the distorted perceptions of reality and hallucinations and delusions can be kind of entertaining on occasion. But they can also be frightening, creating anxiety and depression and absolute abject fear on occasion. Although each drug may vary in terms of its physiological effects, generally speaking, you're looking at brain damage, in some cases actually frying the brain in some cases. There's elevated blood pressure, which creates heart problems and heart attacks and strokes and so forth. You have memory loss and seizures. Those that are sniffed and inhaled also carry with them serious risks of cancer. Again, the numbers are not encouraging. Close to 23 million people are users in America. They spend $66 billion a year for their drugs, and something over 34,000 of them die each year due to overdoses and brain damage. And this doesn't include the people whose lives are literally wasted and ruined because of taking these drugs. And still more thousands die, not to mention the endless drug wars that take so many lives. For example, the gang wars and the conflicts between sellers and the law enforcement people, both within our country and on our borders. It's reported that 25% of all domestic violence is perpetuated by men users of harmful drugs. Surveys in our state and federal prisons indicate that 44% of all drug offenders, 39% of all property offenders, and 24% of all violent offenders were actually high on drugs at the time they committed their offenses. Talk about a false sense of invincibility. Now, the purpose of this is not to berate those unfortunate souls who have gone down and are going down this path, but rather we're trying to protect our young by helping them to understand the importance of understanding the nature of things before they make important decisions. As Franklin said, it behooves us above all things in this world to take care that our opinions of things be according to the nature of things. Why? Because that will keep us out of trouble and help us to make sound decisions. Thanks for being with me today. Please join us for our next episode, which will deal with pornography, the addictive nature of pornography.